This started as a normal galactic forum. Ambassadors from most of the Federation's races were filing into the hall, with those that were unable or incapable of attending popping into existence via the holographic projectors attached to their designated podium seats. Once the niceties and greetings were done, the auditorium fell silent as the ambassador of the Kartosh walked up to the speaker's podium. The light made his semi-opalescent skin glow, making his already oversized ears and head look even bigger. Placing his 3-digit hand in the air in the universal gesture of greeting. "Salutations, my fellow ambassadors," the Kartoshian ambassador started. "As you all know, our Federation is constantly seeking to help and uplift our fellow member species where and when we can." A few quizzical looks from the spectators gathered showed that this was a fundamental truth. However, we only worked our specific strengths, so that we can ensure that every species has a place, a role, and thus security within the Federation. By this time, there were a few more mildly confused looks from the different member species, wondering where Ambassador Tricky was going with this. "So now, my fellow ambassadors, why then do we allow the members of the Terran Unity Front to continue wearing their near-Earth regulatory frames when dealing with us?" You could feel the attention of the hall move from the speaker to the Terran group sitting in the upper balcony of the room. What you could not see was the smirking grin on the face of Ethan Russell, the delegated human ambassador. "You may believe that the near-Earth regulatory frames, or NERF suits, as the humans call them, are strictly to regulate the humans' environmental and biological needs when dealing with other fellow members, but my sources tell me that even the Mancreans, whose environment is exactly the same as the humans, have never seen one outside of their suit." The Kartoshian pointed at the human delegate. Ethan just tilted his head in an interested gesture. The Kartoshian continued, "I have investigated and documented situations where there is no doubt that these humans are trying to deceive us. I ask the Federation to listen and look at my findings and to come to the conclusion that humans are attempting to usurp the balance that we have spent hundreds of cycles to achieve, by using machines to help them get ahead of the rest of us. Does anyone second this?" The Kartoshian looked around at the others around him. Motions of consent and agreement were signaled all around him as Ethan slowly shook his head and placed a metal-enclosed hand on his forehead. "The first thing I noticed was that the ambassadors, when communicating, seem exceptionally quick-witted, adaptable, and insightful in that they may make connections and understand complex ideas faster than other species I have ever met. This leads me to suspect cognitive augmentation. If that is not enough, many species have noticed that humans appear to acquire new languages, customs, and knowledge at an astonishing rate, which in itself might raise suspicions. Many delegates have observed how humans quickly grasp and adapt to alien cultures, which suggests accelerated learning capabilities. Learning our science and culture may take other species years to understand. Humans seem to grasp it the first time." Gestures of consensus and agreements were showing across the hall. A slight murmuring started amongst the collective. Humans wearing NERF suits exhibit an extraordinary level of precision and control in their physical actions. Whether it's performing delicate tasks or engaging in complex physical activities, their level of precision could be a clue that their abilities are being modified. Tricky read verbatim from the notes in front of him. Looking up, he gestured to the audience. "You have all seen a human doctor. Whether in an operating theater or doing basic health diagnostics, they never falter, never make a mistake, even dealing with exotic members, like the Flatoons, whose organs are constantly in motion. Not once have we even noticed a tremble, whether from excitement or fear or exhaustion." Tricky puts his tablet down, looking at the people gathered. "And then we come to the absolute evidence of this matter," he said, gripping the sides of the podium, looking directly at the Terran podium. "And by this, I mean the events of yesterday on Dock 17. Ethan sank further into his seat, setting his hand fully over his visor as if this would make him disappear. "As most of you know, there was an accident whereby an unfastened overhanging crane got loose and fell onto the loading area where the Triance delegation was disembarking. An accident, mind you, that should have resulted in the death of at least 5 of the members. However, there were no casualties, no injuries, except for some minor bruising of the Trent ambassador's nestling. What most of you would not know is that, according to the footage of the area, the only thing that was strange was that the location of the Triance moved inexplicably in a fraction of a second. The holographic video started playing overhead. An isometric view of the dock is shown, with the normal, everyday to and fro of a diplomatic loading dock. Then all of a sudden a beam comes crashing down in the middle of the bay, absolutely wrecking the loading machine and some crates. On first look, Everything seemed fine, until the 1 second of footage started looping. Then you could see the problem. Right where the beam fell down, there are 5 feathered lizard-type beings directly under the beam. Then, as if by magic, they each move about 3 units, 1 meter, in a direction away from the beam. Now even the religious cult of the quantum expanse would remiss in calling this a miracle. The Cartosian continues, however. Our data scientists were able to notice something peculiar. The hologram zooms onto a figure wearing a slightly rounded metal figure made of a dark pearlescent black alloy with a high visibility vest on, the same style of suit as the Terran ambassador. As it zooms into the figure, the video starts slowing down, until it is a frame-by-frame view where you see a human figure standing, disappearing, and reappearing in a slightly different pose. 3 frames looping, there, gone, there again, there, gone, there again. Before anyone asks, the Cartosian interjects, the increasingly loud murmuring and jostling of the room. Yes, we did check, and no, there has been no tampering here. You are all free to request the raw video from the security office. Then turning to the human, he asks, what do you have to say for yourself? The sudden hush took over the room as the Terran ambassador stood up and walked down the stairs to the pit where the Cartosia's ambassador stood waiting. Ethan cocked his head to the side and bowed in the traditional Cartosian gesture of gratitude. Traki instinctively bowed as well and moved away from the microphone. Ethan and the rest of the Terran diplomatic team knew that this was coming for a long time. They hoped that it would never come to this, but unfortunately, their time was up now. A speech was created for just such an event. He stood in front of the assembly, his face lighting up due to the built-in display in his helmet, showing him the speech that he had drafted. Greetings and salutations, members of the Federation. It is with great sadness that I stand here today. Not because of any wrongdoing, but because after you hear what I have to say, the tough will need to withdraw from the Federation. The hall exploded with confusion, shouting, and objections from every race represented. Even the normally calm Cartosian started looking nervously at the mob forming. Ethan, having enough of the hubris, took in a deep breath, pushed his voice amplifier to max, and shouted, "Stop." Silence flooded the room. Even the most aggressive race's ears flattened, the Morix skin faded to black, and the ectoplasmic Tregiums lost control of their forms, falling into puddles in their seats. Traki felt a moment of lightheadedness, all from the sheer demonstration of aggression from the Terran, who, to his knowledge, has never even raised his voice. My apologies, Ethan continued, but there is a good reason for this. Ethan looked around, noticing some of the ambassadors signing off on the holopads out of fear or confusion. He couldn't tell. About 300 standard cycles ago, we discovered signals coming from the Federation. At first, our world could not hold on to our excitement. There were factions that feared the implications of the signals, but most of us were elated to know that we were not alone in the universe. Our scientists analyzed and investigated the information, noting that the data was a bit slow. Our astrophysicists hypothesized that this could be a time dilation caused by unknown space anomalies and that if we wanted to get the truth, we would need to investigate further. Ethan continued, imagine our surprise when we found out that the data we were getting was, in actual fact, in real time. By now, we had decrypted the galactic common language, the gist of your Federation's roles and activities, and realized that if we wanted to be part of this, we needed to change. You could have heard a pin drop. The assembly was now looking at the humans with mild skepticism. We discovered that our perception of time was 10 magnitudes faster than yours, and our physical strength was greater still. We could dominate your species in almost every aspect, so in order for us to join the Federation, we needed to reduce our abilities so as not to disrupt the current balance. This means that, in certain ways, yes, we have augmented ourselves, but not just to improve ourselves, as you will soon see. He turns to the holo projector. A detailed schematic of the NERF suit appeared, and Ethan continued his speech. The suits are equipped with advanced augmented reality, AR, displays integrated into the helmet visor. When not actively communicating with aliens, users can access a vast array of information, including holographic entertainment, educational content, and even virtual tours of alien worlds. These AR interfaces provide endless opportunities for learning and entertainment, reducing the sense of boredom during idle periods. Due to the massive difference in our time experience, humans tend to find a lot of time between speaking and waiting for our replies. Ethan could feel the confusion slowly turning into fear as he continued his presentation. The suits have included neural interfaces where users can engage in mental exercises, puzzles, and creative activities to keep their minds sharp and engaged. They can also access virtual libraries, allowing them to read, learn new languages, or engage in research while waiting for responses from interactions in your real time. These also are used to update our libraries with data, allowing all of us to learn from each other's experiences. The suits also come with built-in productivity tools, enabling users to work remotely or collaborate with their fellow humans. They can engage in tasks, such as data analysis, problem solving, or even artistic endeavors, ensuring that they remain productive even during extended waiting periods. Ethan looked up at the hall, so when it felt like you were talking to different people during the day, chances you were as some of the suits are merely drones being controlled by humans in shifts. The fear was replaced by confusion once again. When actively communicating with aliens, the suits can accelerate the perception of time by compressing inputs, making conversations feel more fluid and dynamic. To you, this helps maintain interest and reduce the sense of time dragging on during interactions. So basically, the Nerf suit does assist humans in dealing with other members in the Federation, but not in the way that you thought, where your gravity is averaging at 1 unit per tick squared. However, Earth-in-Earth measurements translates to 0.03 meters per 15 seconds, so, Earth's gravity, expressed in Federation standard units, would be approximately 65.4 units per tick squared. A stunned silence shook the crowd as the implications settled in. The suit is designed to slow down our physical abilities. NERF is not an acronym, it's a nickname. Go and check our internet and search for the word Nerf. An image of weapons that fire foam darts appeared with the words, non-expanding recreational foam. Now search for, what does it mean when something is nerfed? A dictionary definition appears, verb, used with an object, lowercase, slang. In a video game, to reconfigure an existing character or weapon, making it less powerful. We did this so that we could interact with you, learn from you, and, well, be around you, Ethan continues. We knew and understood that if we did not do this, a simple touch from us could injure, maim, or kill you. But now that you know this, we understand that we would be a massive risk to the Federation and will willingly step down from our seat. Just understand that we enjoyed being with you and learning about you, and that we hope to have further engagements with you. And as is Earth custom, if you need any help, don't be afraid to ask. Ethan and his entourage slowly started leaving the hall, with all humans heading to their cruisers and headed back to the Sol system. Extract from the Federation Council meeting star date 245,833.2. Traley, a young Cartoshian, looks at Traki, now old and frail, with uncertainty. You can't be serious. This must be a work of fiction. No sentient species could ever be like that or live under such gravity. It's impossible. The new ambassador of the Cartoshian race looked at her mentor with fear and confusion. Not only is it true, but I was there. The Ancient One looked at the Cartoshian in her full body armor. It had been 200 orbits since Cartoshians had been in a war, 35 orbits since the humans left, and 3 orbits since the Deathworlders started their war of conquest. Were the humans still out there? Would they be willing to assist? Ha ha, time will tell, Traki thought to himself. The hypertransmission was sent to the Sol system, requesting no, begging for help, and almost as soon as they sent it, they received an answer. Traki found himself face to face with Ethan Russell. By the trees, you look like you have not aged a day, the Cartoshian spat. Hey there, old buddy, it's been a while. The new ambassador, War Chamberlain, instantly recognized the face in front of him, the exact same face from the report he just read. More impossibilities. So, I see you guys have your hands full at the moment. Ethan looked like a Cartoshian ape who stole a fruit, all innocent but with something hiding behind it. So, you know of the Deathworld's war. The junior exclaimed. Why do you not help us? The audio continues even though the human stopped speaking. Remember, we stepped away from the Federation, and we did, in fact, tell you that if you needed help, you just need to ask. But don't, for a tick, think that we were idle. The grin on the human's face made the Cartoshians think back on predators on their cradle world, and sent a collective shiver down his back. Yes, please help us. Traley looks at her grandfather, beseeching that he mediated this in any way that he can. She sees a strange look on his face, one ear perked up as if trying to decipher something. You already did something, didn't you? he says, looking at the pink and hairy face on the monitor. You knew we were going to call you. What did you do? The man from the Tough couldn't keep it in any more as he started laughing as he brought a small metallic box into view, lying on a face-up palm. With the other hand, he pushed the button. At first, nothing happened. Then messages started pouring in from all over the galaxy. Death World battalions, ships, and cruisers were instantaneously turning into balls of molten slag. Nothing survived the war that they were losing, for most of Trolley's life had ended in a fraction of a tick. You're welcome, the human smirked. And then he laughed.